We got to talk Bucks Heat first. Let's do it. Even though the series hasn't been great, and it hasn't been particularly high quality, high caliber basketball in spots, but the Bucks and Heat just gave us two of the most iconic games in NBA history and absolutely the most iconic ending I've ever seen. For those who were asleep on the East Coast because you work in the mornings, the Bucks are Milwaukee Bucks, who I had just like a few units on to win it all at plus 350, which that's down the drain. They blew a 16-point fourth quarter lead. They ended up losing in overtime to the Miami Heat in Milwaukee, which means the Heat are dead. The Milwaukee Bucks, are dead. The Heat booted the betting favorites for the entire league in 5 fucking games. Are you serious? Did that happen? But it is not that it happened that boggled the mind. It is how it happened that boggled the mind. Okay, so let's start back at Game 4. So Jimmy Butler, a.k.a. Playoff Jimmy, went into a berserk level of basketball, going off for 56, 9-2, which is an insane stat line. That is ridiculously one-man gangbang slash line. Single-handedly carrying this team, where the second leading scorer I think they scored 15 points, Bam Adebayo. Third leading scorer, 10 points. So, it was just Jimmy all day. Outplayed the entire Bucks team. Giannis, before that, missed the previous games. My question is, how do you play 4 all-NBA defenders on the court at the same time? You've got Drew Holiday, Giannis, Brook Lopez. All 3 of those guys could win Defensive Player of the Year at any given time. And then you got Bobby Portis, who's also lockdown defender. 4 dudes, and you cannot stop Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, who's never been a particularly great jump shooter. That is not only a testament to how good Jimmy Butler is, but just how horrible the Bucks are. Oh my God, gross. The coaching in this game and in these 2 games from Budenholzer has been vomit, like trash vomit. Then we go to Game 5. Bucks down 3-1. Hey, Bucks, it's an elimination game. Heads up. If you lose, 1-2-3 Cancun. They were as a down 3-1 plus 130 to win that series. Meaning the betting world, thought there was a possibility they could win 3 in a row. Bucks, huge fourth quarter lead. I believe at one point they were up 17 in the fourth quarter. And then, in an absolute bottle job, blew the lead in the most insane, amazing way. Not only did they not have any answer for Jimmy Butler, but Budenholzer made, I don't even know, like some truly disheartening, bizarre game-ending situations. Let's break those down. So the Heat are down 7 with 4 minutes left. Spoelstra decides to make Bam the primary ball handler in order to set up this like high-low action for Jimmy Butler. He then proceeds in the paint to torch the Bucks once again. Heat come roaring back, but Jimmy misses 2 shots in the final 30 seconds, and now Drew Holiday has the opportunity to put the Bucks up 3 with a half second left. He misses the first, makes the second. Heat call timeout. They take the ball out near half court. Got me? Okay. So what does Budenholzer do? First of all, with Bam off the floor, for some unknown reason, I believe he fouled out, maybe, he decides to take Defensive Player of the Year Brook Lopez off the floor. Didn't have a great explanation after the game why he did that. Second, he decides to defend Jimmy Butler underneath the basket with 6'4" Drew Holiday. Not Giannis, not Chris Middleton, not someone long. Nope, we'll put Drew on him. And I get it. Drew is a great defender. Then, secondly, Jimmy had to beg Spo just to get the play made for Jimmy in order for the ball to go to him so that he could tip it in underneath the basket. He tells Spo, like, listen, Drew's going to front me. I'm going to get separation. I'm going to tip in near the basket. So he draws up a lob to Jimmy, who then uses his physicality to get separation, catches the ball one-handed, falling to the floor, and somehow it goes in. Bud, why didn't you call a timeout there when you saw what the play was going to be? So not only was Lopez off the floor, like, I don't know, you could have used a 7-footer underneath the basket to defend a lob into Jimmy, but then you decide not to put Giannis on Jimmy. And when the Bucks had a chance to see the Heat's final play, and they still had a timeout, Bud decided not to use it. The outrage that's inside of my soul right now is to such a high level, I can't even muster up the strength to yell anymore. It's just like a very disappointed feeling for Bud because everyone on Twitter was showing Bud and showing him doing nothing. How dumb was the decision? Well, not only were the Heat players themselves stunned by the decision, even Eric Spoelstra had no idea what was going on. He's like, how do we know that Eric Spoelstra was like, hey, what is this joke show doing? What is our man Budenholzer saying? Because Max Strus went on the Levitard show today and said everyone was puzzled on the Heat bench. Let's go and listen to Max Strus.
Max, were you also confused whether or not Milwaukee had timeouts? Because there were several points in both of your most recent comebacks where a timeout is usually called and it wasn't called, and I think it kind of led to what you felt, which was just this one big hallucination.
Yeah, honestly, we were all questioning it. At the regular end of the regular time, Spo came in the huddle. He was like, they didn't call a timeout. Like, what are we doing? Like, they didn't call a timeout. And we were like, we didn't even know they had a timeout. We just figured they didn't, the guys on the court. But, yeah, we were all kind of questioning what was going on, but thankfully they didn't use it.
Thankfully, they didn't use it. Budenholzer right now is on Heat Reddit as the savior of the Miami Heat. Even Spo's like, what are we doing? Like, what is this Bush League bullshit that's happening right now? And it, of course, gets worse. So the Heat run out to a lead in OT. And the Bucks claw back. They're down 2 with 10 seconds to go. And they have the entire length of the court to go. So instead of calling one of his 2 timeouts in his pocket to, advance the ball up to half court, he simply lets them waste time getting across the half court line. And then when his option 1 and his option 2 are locked up, the ball ends up in our man Grayson Allen's hands. And what do you know? The team simply just runs out of time before they can even put up a shot. Is that not the most insane shit? You went home. That's it. That's all you have left. 3-1, you are down. You don't even throw up a shot? It just expires? Ugh. The worst part, they only needed a 2. This team only needed a 2. They could have just planned to play up for Drew or Chris, or even if you didn't want the ball in Giannis's hands because he can't shoot free throws. What are we talking about here? You had Bam, Kevin Love, and Kyle Lowry all had fouled out. You can't even plan a play for 2 fucking points when you have a bunch of undrafted guys out there and Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's an incredible player. He was out there on the floor to end overtime with 4 undrafted players. That should be barbecue chicken. That should be barbecue chicken. Let that sink in. Game over. Season over. Could not get a shot up. Budenholzer's career maybe over. Meanwhile, heard Nick Nurse is on Zillow right now looking up some homes in Fox Point, see how much it'll cost for him to move in at short notice. I promise you, dog, if that was Nick Nurse, there's no chance that would happen. His X's and O's skills are far surpassing our man Bud. That would never happen. Now, maybe everybody on the team would hate Nick Nurse because it seems like he's been calling them out in the media to the point where things have gotten a little toxic. But I tell you what, at the end of a game, he's calling up the right play. Never would I ever see Nick Nurse eat 3 timeouts. Just keep them in his pocket and lose in an elimination game at home. There's a reason you don't see memes of Nick Nurse with hands in his pockets. Friend of show, Keith Smith, said, Bucks done, unreal. Giannis, Middleton, Holiday on the floor. The ball is in Grayson Allen's hands. He doesn't even get a shot off. Bucks left a timeout on the board at the end of regulation and 2 timeouts on the board at overtime. Just unconscionable. The proper word is unconscionable. So they asked Bud, what's up? What happened?
They had 5 small guys, so, down 2, you can go for the win with 3, or, they obviously got the play at the rim, but, they had 5 guards or wings, and so we matched that.
I believe you had a timeout with half a second left and you didn't call it. What was the thought process there?
Yeah, we need to call a timeout there.
And then in overtime, I know you like to play without calling the timeout. Was there any part of that possession where you thought maybe we're not getting something, we need to take a timeout?
No. Giannis attacked. Giannis got the ball to Chris. Chris attacked. That's how we always play. It's been very good for us. And, we weren't able to convert it tonight.
That is so bad. That is so bad. I think Bud knows he fucked up. He's like, yep, got to call a timeout there. I think he sees the writing on the wall. This kid on Twitter, I don't know how to pronounce his name, he said Budenholzer was chilling on the sidelines like, damn, this game is good as hell. Damn, this is a good-ass game, dog. Like, you're supposed to be doing something, Bud. You're a part of this deal. Miami Heat Reddit posted a Mike Budenholzer appreciation post today. Said, we couldn't have won this without your masterclass yesterday, Budenholzer. So now we're left in Miami. We're left to figure out what's happening now that the season is done in Milwaukee. There is no way that they should be sitting at home. No way that they should lose to a play-in team. There's a play-in team. Number 1 seed loses to a team that was down 15 points to the Chicago Bulls and probably were going to go home night sleep mask in the play-in tournament. They had already lost once to Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks. Since we're speaking about post-game pressers, let's talk about this Giannis clip that's gone viral. You've probably seen it if you're not living under a rock. I have thoughts. A reporter asked if this season was a failure to Giannis. Check out this bullshit.
I just asked Bud the exact same question, but I'm curious for you. Do you view this season as a failure?
Oh, my God. Okay, because I'm not that up. You asked me the same question last year, Eric. Okay, do you get a promotion every year on your job? No, right? So every year you work is a failure. Yes or no? No. Every year you work towards something, towards a goal, right? Which is to get a promotion, to be able to take care of your family, to be able, provide the house for them or take care of your parents. You work towards a goal. It's not a failure. It's steps to success. And if you've never, I don't want to make it personal.
Hold up. I just realized he was about to say to the reporter, if you've never accomplished anything good in your entire fucking life, you won't know what that means. He almost said that. That's what he was about to say. And then he was like, hold up, let me not make that personal.
So, there's always steps to it. Michael Jordan played 15 years, won 6 championships. The other 9 years was a failure? That's what you're telling me? No, I'm asking you a question. Yes or no?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, exactly. So why you asking me that question? It's a wrong question. There's no failure in sports.
Pause. What are we fucking talking about here? There's no failure in sports? There's no failure in sports? So you are the number 1 seed. We'll continue. I've got thoughts. We gotta get through this clip.
There's good days, bad days. Some days you are able to be successful. Some days you're not. Some days it's your turn. Some days it's not your turn. And that's what sports is about. You don't always win. Some other people's gonna win. And this year somebody else is gonna win. Simple as that. We're gonna come back next year, try to be better, try to build good habits, try to play better, not have a 10-day stretch with playing bad basketball. And hopefully we can win a championship.
So everybody was slobbing on Giannis's knob over this. They thought it was like the most insightful, philosophical comment that any athlete has made after losing the first round. This is insane. This is a team. Can we just back it up here? This is a team that was the number 1 overall seed that lost to an 8 seed that had to scrap and claw just to get into the playoffs. And you lost to them in 5 games, giving up double-digit leads in games 4 and 5. That's not a failure of a season to you. Folks, this is exactly what if this isn't chutes and ladders, fam. Like, this is pro sports. There are billions of dollars on the line. That is a failure. You got your ass waxed. Your coach collapsed. You fucked up. You missed 13 free throws. The postseason, the season as a whole, what you were trying to achieve, you failed. You, as a human being, obviously not a failure. But your goal every year is to win a championship. That's actually the only point of this whole thing. That's the only goal. It's not like, oh, Eric Neem messed up on one article about Giannis, and so it's a bad season for this writer who asked Giannis about whether the season was a failure. No, it would be like if the entire goal for Eric Neem was to write a feature on Giannis and then he didn't do it. It would be like that. This is a spin job. We are people collectively all going crazy, being like, oh my God, Giannis, he's so grounded. Everybody, and show this to your kids. What kind of participation trophy shit is this? Like, there's no failure in sports. There's only growth. No. Growth comes from admitting that you failed. That's where we're at right now. This is like, there's going to be consequences. Your coach is probably fired. You're not going to be able to extend or pay Brooke Lopez. You're probably going to let Chris Middleton go. Drew Holiday's on an expiring. What's he going to do? All of that is a downstream effect of failure. Is it a failure for the Orlando Magic that they did not win a championship this year? No, because the Orlando Magic are a lottery team. The Orlando Magic have been a lottery team for the last decade. They had the number 1 pick overall last year. The fact that Orlando Magic won like 65% of their games after the All-Star break, that's a success. That's something to build on. No, Giannis, there's nothing to build on for you except for championships. This isn't steps to success. This is like, is Giannis trying to be Ted Lasso? Are we thinking like Giannis is a college football coach that decides to go to England and coach an EPL team and has no idea what he's doing? Because that's how he sounds right now. The mistakes have been egregious. The Bucks should have been at home in 5, waiting for their next opponent, and instead they're home in 5, watching their opponent move on and play the Knicks. The path was there for you. You got to play the Knicks in the next round. How are they going to defend Giannis? Nope. No, you failed. You fucking choked. To me, this was the most telling quote that Giannis said. Hey, they were playing to beat us, and we were playing to win a championship. We were a bit ahead of ourselves, to be honest. Okay, so they were playing to beat you, goal achieved. You were planning to win a championship, fail. Your goal was only to win a championship? That was only the thing in your mind? I feel like I'm talking crazy. I think I've taken crazy pills. You got Emmanuel Acho being like, show this to your kids? Why? What kind of gold star nonsense is this? Like, this is shirking accountability. This is trying to spin zone your way into continuing to have the same exact thing as you did before. This is going to be a storyline for the offseason. I don't know what kind of decisions they're going to make, but they have some to make, and I would not be surprised if Coach Budenholzer, with 2 years left on his deal, is out.